If you say that in the Bible, what is in the Bible does not speak about God equivocally, you are facing a totally new relationship with the Bible. And this is what Spinoza did in the Traité théologico-politique and the political theological treatise, considering the Bible no longer as the say of God, but as the social, political understanding of not the say of God, but the human writings about God. So that we moved from a religion of revelation to something that is totally different, a social political understanding of what I would call with Foucault an archive or a corpus of body texts that implies not only the relationship with God, but also the long history of the struggle of religion. And this is exactly what Spinoza did when he wrote his magnificent treatise on the Bible.
Indeed, Deleuze renders the cinema cosmologically according to a kind of zero degree of chaos, a differential vortex of particles which gives rise to the slow cooling down, he says, of the universe, the coalescence of particles and then molecules, the coherence of forces, the concretization or molarization of bodies. In short, Deleuze understands cinema as a cosmogenetically, or indeed, understands cinema as cosmogenetic, or indeed cosmo-cinematographic. And if there's any sort of, more obvious proof of this, it's partly in the film that we don't have time to look at today. But this is a shot from Terrence Malick's Tree of Life. And when Malick went to make this film, the first thing he did was to hire Douglas Trumbull, who had done the special effects on 2001, in order to produce literally a cosmology. So the crux of this argument, which I'm going to have to short shrift here, concerns the power of the cinema to provide automatic movement and non-human perception.
So in his short paper, Postscript on Control Societies, which was published towards the end of his life, and in my view, perhaps indicating a new direction his work might have taken, Deleuze mapped in the span of a handful of pages one of the most searing diagnoses of 20th century searing diagnoses of contemporary society critical theory has produced. His argument is that during the course of the 20th century, the world entered a new epoch, one that is differently organised to the world Foucault mapped in his work on disciplinary society. Now, there has been considerable, but I think rather pointless debate as to whether we have left disciplinary society completely behind or not. The debate is needless because Deleuze never claims that the machinery of disciplinary society has disappeared. He claims only that it has broken down and that it has been superseded by new machineries of control.
According to Hegel's interpretation, the figure and the symbol are situated on the side of the myth that expresses thought, especially by means of the figure or symbol. The ideograms or linear figures of 8-points hexagram in the I that represents the principle of the cosmos remain absolutely outside the dialectical speculation. To Hegel, they can only be found on a sphere of thought by imagination or symbolism without concepts. Above all, the figure does not mean the figurative, nor the figuration in the sense that the figurative opposes the abstract. The figurative is on the side of narration, illustration, intellect. And in relation to what figuration defines, the figure consists almost in a sort of disfiguration, which is done with a kind of deformation, compared to all the abstract currents of modern paintings. Bacon seems visibly figurative, almost figurative, but Bacon deconstructs this almost figurative in an elaborate way, structurally and very personally, according to Deleuze.
However, as a long-term, now relatively stable camp, and Guattari is about to achieve city status, which, because a lot of people will never go back to their home in Syria, it's a camp that's being used as a laboratory for a lot of government organisations. It's a model that's ripe for different kinds of modelling testing. In terms of ICT developments, one recent pilot program looked at training refugees in the use of GIS ICTs. Now, GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems Technology, for Community-Based Information and Asset Management. So the humans are the assets here. GIS started in the 1970s with quite primitive systems that were mainly used to visualise systems and maps, where the infrastructures were, where the electricity is, where the sewerage is, where the water is, and so on. But GIS has become an indispensable tool in disciplines such as earth, atmospheric and oceanographic sciences, but also in the digital humanities, and particularly in urban planning and disaster management issues like refugees and movement of refugees.
There is also the practice of justice subordinated to the aim of reconciliation. In the past 40 years, it has come to be understood not as retributive justice, but as restorative justice. The concept of restorative justice invokes practices of First Nations people in Canada and Maori in New Zealand. A meeting is held with the victim and the offender, sometimes with representatives of the community. Wrongdoers are enjoined to explain how they came to commit the offense and to take responsibility for their action. In face-to-face discussion with the victim, agreement is reached about what the offender can do to repair the harm. Victims are given an active role in the process. It provides them with an opportunity to exorcise resentments or fears, restores their sense of control over their lives, and reaffirm their status as valued members of the community. The meeting avoids shaming and stigmatizing the offender and seeks to enable him to regain a sense of self-worth. These practices aim not only to restore what the victim had lost, but to restore both the victim and the wrongdoer to the community.
Actually, Deleuze understands Robinson's subjectivity as an odd deviation in Trunier's novel. Robinson is a pervert who has no others. That is actually the Deleuze analysis of Trunier's novel, which was represented in the Trunier's Friday. And Deleuze's political agenda implicates in this critique is to invent somebody else who is not like Robinson. Who is he or she? How to do that? This process will be called internal rather than the ontological. With this approach to Deleuze conceptualizes Robinson's island, there comes to exist Deleuzean politics against the bourgeois reproduction of property. This is communism, all right? In my opinion, planetary communism.
So, which way to go? Fascism of the potato or couch potato schizoanalysis? Yes, it's schizoanalysis which must understand that orgasm anxiety forms the basis of the general fear of life, and it's this which is productive of fascistic desire. So, in exasperation, apoplexy and delirious exhilaration, I say no to the naysayers and the peddlers of nihilism and affirm instead the sense of insurrectionary desire and the possibility of a non-fascist way of life. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
Whoops, I finished too soon. It's the story of my life. I have another thing to say. It's a joke actually, I prepared, but embarrassingly, I returned to a quote by Reich. He says, "You plead for happiness in life, but security means more to you." And I want to answer him by using the dissipating words of Nick Land, who says, "Death to the human security system."
So now, all the program of Deleuze Guattari Studies in Asia, 7th International Conference, Tokyo 2019, is completed. We had such a great number of wonderful, inspiring presentations. I myself got many ideas for my current work and for my future work. I hope, and I'm sure, that you did too. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you all of you.